Hello everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant here from Meeple University. Today we'll be teaching you how to play Next Station London, game designed by Matthew Dunstan and published by Blue Orange Games.
Let's get to the game.
Next Station London is a flip and write game in which players, in response to the cards that are drawn, will build networks of railway lines around this map of London. The game plays over 4 rounds. In each round, a player will work on one specific colour of railway line, and will score each of them separately for how well it covers the total map of London, meets all of the different tourist destinations, and forms a network with the other lines. Whoever best meets these aims across their 4 lines will win the game. To set up, give each player one map. Randomly give each player one of the coloured pencils. This determines which line they'll be working on in round 1. You must use all 4 pencils regardless of player count. So if, for example, you're playing 3 players, the spare pencil simply sits there waiting to be rotated as the rounds go on. Shuffle the 11 rectangular station cards and place them in the centre of the table ready for round 1. For your first game, leave the square cards in the box. These represent shared objectives and pencil powers and are considered advanced modules. You're now ready to play. Next Station London is a flip and write game, and on each turn, each player will make a mark on their personal sheet based on a common card drawn from the central deck. All players will play each turn simultaneously. What I'll do is take you through a round step by step. The colour of pencil you're holding determines which line you'll be drawing this round, and that line will have to start from the matching coloured station. So for this purple pencil, it's this station. When the first card is drawn, you may draw a new segment of your railway line from the starting station to a station which matches the icon on the card. Your line segment must be a single straight line along one of the dotted paths shown on your drawing sheet. In this case, these are the 8 stations which can be reached from a single line segment. These are the only 2 circle options, and therefore you would choose one of those 2 stations and draw a line interconnecting like so. You are allowed to cross the river, and in fact will gain points for doing so. Once all players have drawn their first line segment, the next card will be flipped. This card looks different with the pink background instead of the blue one, but it's resolved the same way. You may extend your line from either one of its 2 stations to a new valid triangular station. In this case, these are your only 3 options, and we'll choose to draw this one like so. Now we move on to the third card draw, and we'll start to see some more restrictions appear in how we draw our lines. Firstly, you're only allowed to extend your line from one of its 2 end stations. You would not, for example, be allowed to draw this connection from your middle station. Secondly, the new line you draw is not allowed to intersect with any old lines you've drawn, regardless of colour. That means that this line is not allowed. That means that these are your only valid destinations. And so we'll choose to draw this line like so. A card showing this icon is a joker card, and when one of these comes up, you may choose to extend your line to a station with any shape. That opens up many options. So in this case, let's draw the line over here to this triangle station. Let's keep exploring. Our next draw is another square. There are 2 squares reachable from this triangular station. However, you are not allowed to create a loop in a single colour of line. That is, you cannot draw to a station which already has that colour of line going in and out of it. Therefore, this would not be a valid option. As such, I'll choose to extend the line out here to this station. Any station with this star pattern around it is called a tourist site, and when a line reaches a tourist site, you can cross out the next box on your tourist row at the bottom of your sheet. Each line may only score each of the 5 tourist sites once. So if I flipped and played this Pentagon station and drew it here, I would not get to score the tourist site again. There is one special card in this deck, the railway switch card, showing this icon. When this happens, draw another card. Then instead of being restricted just to extending your line from one of its two end stations, you may choose to extend the line from any station. For the rest of this round, this line now has 3 end stations which you'll be able to extend from instead of only 2. Note that if the railway switch is the first or second card drawn, it will have no effect. This space represents the central station. It is the one wild station on the map, and you can draw to that station from any card. This is also a tourist site. The full station deck contains 5 pink cards and 6 blue cards. Once the 5th pink card has been drawn and resolved, that round is finished and that line is complete, even if cards remain in the deck. Players now count up their scores for this line. First, count the number of districts that the line runs through. The districts are the areas delineated by these yellow lines on the map. There are 13 different districts, including these 4 small single station districts in the corner. Here my purple line runs through 3 districts, so I would write the number 3. Secondly, identify the single district with the most stations from that line. Here I've got a district with 1 station, a district with 4, and a district with 5. Write the highest of those numbers into the second box. Thirdly, count the total number of river crossings that this line makes. This is quite a high river crossing line. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Multiply that number by 2 and write it in the third box. Multiply the first 2 numbers and add the third to get your score for this line. Here it's 3 times 5 is 15, plus 12 is 27. Now prepare for the next round. Gather up all of the used and unused station cards and shuffle them into a new deck. Then give your pencil to the player on your left and receive a pencil from the player on your right. Remember to keep the unused pencils in circulation if you're playing with fewer than 4 players. You'll now be building your second line and starting from the station of your new pencil colour. Most rules hold the same. There's a couple of new things that you need to think about as you build your lines. Firstly, you're still not allowed to cross over any lines that you have previously drawn. In this case, this line is not allowed to this pentagon station as it crosses the purple line, making this the only legal option. You are, however, allowed to go to a station that previously has another line going to it. And in fact, it's very important that you do this. There are a lot of points on offer for creating interchanges between your lines. By drawing this connection to this square station, I've now created an interchange between 2 of my lines. I've also brought a new line to this tourist site, allowing me to cross off another box on my tourist site track. You can do this for every new line which reaches one of the 5 tourist sites. Just as a line is not allowed to cross another line, you're also not allowed to share a track with an existing line. You would not be allowed to draw this next green line along this track. If you cannot legally draw a line as the map is laid out, then you simply skip that turn. And even if you can legally draw a line, doing so is always optional. Otherwise, you'll draw and score your lines the same way that we saw for the purple line. Once all 4 rounds are complete, the game is over, and you'll add up your final score. Start by adding the individual scores for your lines. Here, write the lowest uncoloured number from your tourist track, so here 21. Then count up your number of interchange stations based on how many different lines run through that station. Here there are 5 interchanges serviced by 2 different lines. Each of these is worth 2 points. I have no interchanges serviced by 3 lines, these will be worth 5 points each, and I have 1 interchange serviced by 4 lines, worth 9 points. Add these bonuses to your line scores, and the player with the highest score wins. If tied, whoever has the single highest scoring line breaks the tie, and if still tied, victory is shared. Once you're familiar with the game, you can introduce the two advanced modules, either together or separately to play. These are the shared objectives and the pencil powers. To play with shared objectives, shuffle up the cards and then deal 2 of them face up into the centre of the table at the start of the game. At the end of the game, you'll evaluate your entire network to determine whether you meet one or both of these objectives, and each one you meet will score you 10 points. Multiple players can gain the 10-point bonus for each objective. The objectives are to have at least 6 river crossings, to have lines running through all 13 districts, to have lines which run through all 9 of the stations in the central district, to have lines which run to all 5 of the tourist sites, or to have created at least 8 interchange stations. To use pencil powers, in setup you'll shuffle the pencil power cards and then deal 1 card to each pencil. When you take a pencil, you also take its power card, and when you pass on your pencil at the end of the round, you also pass the power card with it. You begin each round with your pencil power face up, and you can use it once per round by flipping it face down. This power lets you treat any single station card as if it also had a railway switch, even if a railway switch card wasn't drawn. You can use this pencil power to immediately reuse the card which was just drawn in order to draw a second line to a matching station. If you use this power on a joker card, the second station you draw to must match the first one. With this power, you may treat any single station card as if it were a joker card. Finally, for this bonus, circle any one station on that line. This will count as 2 stations instead of 1 when filling in the second line of line scoring. So here, 4 districts and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stations, improving the points for this line. And that's how to play Next Station London. We hope you enjoyed this video.
Thank you so much for watching. Everything you do will help us, every single view, every time you like our videos, our Instagram, every single comment, and let us know that you're there. And make sure you're doing something fun today. See you next time.